FortiGate Best Practice 50. Today we're going to talk about SSO and the administrative login interface. First concept I consider as a best practice is whenever you authenticate in the FortiGate, we're going to want to have multi-factor authentication enabled on that authentication. You don't want to log in your FortiGate just like that with no MFA. That's no best practice. And as far as I'm concerned, the best way I found to scale this method and also make it redundant is first, we're going to use SSO with SAML for our main authentication all the time. So the SAML SSO will allow you to configure our identity provider, whether it's a Forti Authenticator or Microsoft Entra ID, whichever we want. This allows us to inject multi-factor authentication right away for most of the time. But in the case, like for example, if you're using Microsoft, you're dependent upon the internet to have your login in your FortiGate, which means you cannot rely only on SSO, because if you lose internet, you still need to connect to your FortiGate. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an emergency account, and we will leverage the free Forti tokens that FortiGate comes with. So every FortiGate comes with 2 free Forti tokens, and we're going to use one to configure a local account with a super long password with this multi-factor authentication. First, let's go with the emergency account. So here, you're going to want to delete the default admin user. We want to remove that. In the best world, you just want to have one local account like this one, emergency account. In my case, I have other accounts. It's because I'm doing testings all the time and I'm testing stuff with the FortiGate. But in real production, I would only have one account, the emergency account. And the way I've done it is obviously I've configured this Forti token. And in order to be able to scale that, because the Forti token, you have to install it on a mobile device. And this mobile device might not be available to all of your network admins at the same time. So what I like to do is I install the Forti token mobile app from the Microsoft Store, and I install my token right there. So you could install that on one of your servers, and you know that this server has the emergency token in case you need to log in locally with your FortiGate. This is how I do it. This is how it looks like. Emergency. That's it. We're logged in. Perfect. For our main connection, the one that we're going to use all the time is the SSO. So in my case, I have a Forti Authenticator, which is my SSO provider. And what I've done is I'm using a passkey. So I'm using the FIDO protocol, which is the most secure way to do MFA. And it's working with my fingerprint in this case with Windows Hello. I really like that. I just put my fingerprint, passwordless authentication with certificate, and I'm logged in. I'm not going to show you in this video how to configure all that. However, I will show you where you configure SSO in your FortiGate. So as a starting point, it's here in this setting. So for you by default, it will be in standalone. You can click here on SSO configuration. For me, I am working as a root fabric, so it's the advanced option right here. And here you have all of your SSO settings where you configure your IDP informations. In order to configure that, I will share documentations for you to follow. So there's one on how to configure it with Entra ID, and there's one on how to configure it with the Forti Authenticator. if it's something you would like to implement. So to recap, when we log in, we always want to log in with SSO, which has an MFA enabled, and we have the emergency account in case we lose internet access to connect to our FortiGate. In my case, even if I lose internet access, it's still going to work because I'm using a FortiAuthenticator, and the FortiAuthenticator is local, so this is an advantage in that respect. This is it for today's video, and I will see you in the next one.